Saturday morning, time for the Experts program, and our tech expert, Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, is joining us right now. Well, Luis, happy November 1st to you.
Yes, we're down to the last 2 months of the year, getting close, heading toward my favorite holiday, Thanksgiving. Looking forward to that. And then, before we know it, it'll be Christmas.
That's right.
I already started my Christmas shopping.
How about Halloween? How did your Halloween go?
I was quiet. We went to a neighbor's house for a little, neighborhood get-together. I made my famous cornbread, which is a recipe that I stole from a restaurant down in Southern California called Bandera. It's very delicious and way too fattening. Has a lot of sugar in it. So, but it was a hit. People loved it, and I dressed as a unicorn.
Oh, okay, very good. You didn't poke anybody with your horn, did you?
No.
So, in your neighborhood, you guys are out at Pasadena. Do you get any trick-or-treaters out there at all? Are there any kids who live out there?
There's a lot of different, even though we're all behind the gate, there's a lot of different parts of the community. So there's parts that have a lot of kids, and so they'll kind of trick-or-treat in that neighborhood. And there's also a neighborhood where it's smaller houses, but a lot of kids in that part of the community. So yeah, where we're at, it tends to be pretty quiet. So we didn't get any trick-or-treaters.
Yeah, where I am in New Monterey, we don't get any trick-or-treaters at all. I think the last time I had some were 10 years ago, and it was like maybe a half dozen. So if I end up buying candy, usually buy a bag of candy, those little small treats, mini candy bars. I try not to eat them myself, so I'll take them somewhere and drop them off at a friend of mine has a store and say, here, put these in a bowl and next to the cash register for your customers. Anywho, all right, fun stuff. Hey, Waymo's in the news, and that's the driverless taxis, the autonomous taxis. The Waymo CEO believes that society is ready for one of its cars to kill someone. Of course, we're talking about by accident. This isn't that movie Christine.
No, where the car goes crazy.
No, this is more of a situation where there would be an accident and something would fail in the Waymo car and it would run over a pedestrian. I guess, or if it got into an accident with another car, maybe it would T-bone a car and kill the person in the other vehicle. But at any rate, the interesting thing is that the CEO says that she thinks that society is going to be accepting of this. What do you think?
Yeah, now that self-driving cars are becoming more and more common, and not just in taxis, but the self-driving features of many of the modern cars, Tesla in particular, but even, my car has a certain amount of autonomous driving as long as I keep my hands on the steering wheel. So
and your eyes open?
Yeah, and my eyes open, yeah. No looking at my phone.
Oh, and you don't take a nap when you have it in the autonomous mode?
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Okay.
But what I think she speaks to is because it's become so common that inevitably there is going to be an accident that may cause somebody's death, and that people will be accepting of it, because otherwise, Waymo in particular has shown that robotaxis are significantly safer than human-operated vehicles. So overall, if we continue to embrace autonomous driving, we expect to see a lot fewer accidents, but that doesn't mean we won't see zero accidents. It's like airplanes. You never want to see a plane crash, right? But when you think about the number of planes that take off and land every day across the world, and yet there are so few accidents that happen, it tells you that it's a relatively safe thing, but it's still going to be a shock when it first happens.
Yeah, and I would guess that one thing that this will help with as we get more autonomous vehicles out there, you'll have the same number, if not more, cars on the road, fewer drivers, so to speak. But I'm interested to see if it will lead to a decrease in road rage by having, say, fewer drivers. And then the other thing would be, and maybe we'll have less accidents, I would imagine one thing that autonomous vehicles will bring to us is less speeding and unsafe driving in the totality of all the cars that are on the road. I mean, there's always going to be people that are going to speed and be unsafe, but let's say that 20% of all vehicle trips in another 10 or 20 years end up being autonomous vehicles, Waymos. Well, they're not going to speed because they're programmed not to. Yeah. And so that may well end up being kind of a benefit that maybe a lot of people aren't really expecting or looking at. And I could see the other benefit being less road rage out there.
Yeah, I can tell you from personal experience when we were down in Phoenix last month on vacation. Phoenix is one of those cities that has Waymo like San Francisco. And so we took Waymo a few times to get from point A to point B. And the first time you kind of were thinking, oh man, this is so unique and interesting. And by the last ride when we were going to the airport, we're just talking amongst ourselves, ignoring the fact that there's no driver in the car. That it pulls over by the airport departure area and pops the trunk for you so you can get your bags out. Then you close the trunk and it takes off. And it was kind of refreshing not having to deal with an Uber driver that may want to talk or ask a bunch of questions you don't really want to answer. But the one thing that I found that was interesting, and you'll appreciate this, even though Waymo's been operating in Phoenix for a number of years, it still can't go on the highways and the freeways.
Okay.
So in order to go from point A to point B, it has to take back roads. So we took an Uber from the hotel we were staying at to downtown Phoenix, which took about 25 minutes. And then we decided to take a Waymo back. And when we got in the car and took off, on the screen, it tells you how much time is left in your ride. And it said you have an hour and 10 minutes. And we're like, what? But we had a really interesting scenic tour of the outskirts of Phoenix as it found all these surface roads to avoid getting on the highway to take us back to the hotel. So it was a really interesting sightseeing experience.
Now, when you and Ronnie have been riding in these Waymo vehicles for like a trip like that, a long trip, are you constantly watching the traffic, or do you decide to just like, oh, close my eyes and take a little nap here? How does this impact you?
I think the first couple of times you're hyper aware that there's no driver, and so you're looking around trying to make sure that nothing bad's going to happen. But after, that initial weirdness goes away, you just treat it like you do any other ride. You look at your phone, you may look outside to see what's there, but you're not looking to see if the car is driving safely or unsafe. And I will tell you that the Waymo system is really, really good, and we never felt, like we were in any danger at any point.
Well, it says that lawmakers and the companies are still rewriting the rules of the road when it comes to autonomous cars. And this question about how society will react when someone is killed by an autonomous vehicle, we haven't yet seen it happen, so we're going to have to know. Now, there was an instance a couple of years ago where General Motors Robotaxi competitor Cruise Robotaxi dragged a woman down a San Francisco street for 20 feet, and that woman settled for millions of dollars after suing the company.
Hey, good for her, yeah, because that is definitely not appropriate behavior by a robotaxi.
No, but I'm just wondering, people that are out there looking for a free payday, are we going to see people throwing themselves in front of autonomous vehicles, hoping to get hit so that they can sue the companies and get a big payday?
Well, one of the things that all these autonomous vehicles have is they have lots and lots of cameras.
Okay.
So if you try to do something like that inside or outside the car, like let's say you try to sabotage something inside the car, they tell you, hey, we're actively filming what's going on in the car, so you don't do anything inappropriate or you don't try to take control of the vehicle. Same thing outside. They're filming everything that's going on around the vehicle, and all that telemetry is uploaded to the mothership in real time. So if you try to do something like that, chances are that you're going to be caught.
Hey, that's Luis Alvarez joining us today as we talk about technology, the very latest in technology, and the topic today, driverless vehicles becoming more and more prevalent all throughout the air. And we're going to see them in the Monterey Peninsula here pretty soon. You can get
I agree.
Yeah. You can get in touch with Luis or any member of the I-Team by going to alvareztg.com. At AlvarezTG is the X handle. You can follow them there. And Luis, what's the number for the I-Team, the toll-free number?
Give us a call at 866-78-I-Team. That's 866-784-8326.
All righty. And looking ahead to Monday, we've got an interesting topic about battery life for our cell phones.
Yeah, we've been told that it's best not to keep your phones plugged in overnight, but maybe that advice is a little dated. Tune in to find out.